Sometimes, as foster carers, we can feel like our lives are already decided for us. We get told this is what you have to do, this is where you need to go, you need to do this, you need to attend this meeting, and your life, everything else, just has to fit around that. But what if fostering isn't actually the end of your story and it's just a part of it? Sometimes, as foster carers, we can feel like our lives are already decided for us. We get told this is what you have to do, this is where you need to go, you need to do this, you need to attend this meeting, and your life, everything else, just has to fit around that. But what if fostering isn't actually the end of your story and it's just a part of it? What if God is calling you for more? Not instead of fostering, but calling you to something alongside fostering. Today, we're going to be talking about obedience and what it looks like to follow God's call, even when you don't know where it's leading you. Today, I want to just gently lift our eyes a little because fostering, it is a part of your life, but it's not the only thing that God may be calling you to. And as foster carers, it can be easy to feel like our role defines everything, to just be stuck as that one defining role. And honestly, I know it does take over our time, our energy, and our focus. Because fostering is important, that we do actually then start to believe that this is all that there is. This is all that I'm meant to do. And more often than not, we start to believe that I have no time for anything else. But God doesn't just call us into roles, He calls us into lives. And these lives, they are full, they are purposeful, and they are growing. He doesn't call us to just become stagnant and stuck where we are. And sometimes God, He places these things on our hearts, and they don't always go away quietly. So that's when you know that this is the quiet calling that God has put into your heart. And it's not always loud, and it may not be clear, and you may not fully understand what it is that God's putting on your heart, but it's constantly there. It's that constant thought, it's the idea, it's the desire to be building something, or even to be trying something, or even to step into something completely new. And it can feel really confusing to think, well, how does this God led calling fit into my life as a foster carer? What if it's separate from what I'm doing? What if it's not separate? What if it is just a part of fostering? What if the thing that makes you grow the most from God's calling is the thing that helps you to support other people the most? Maybe we can't keep those two things separate. And I think one of the biggest things that holds us back is waiting for everything to make sense. But obedience doesn't come with clarity, the perfect conditions, or even a huge spotlight over the path that you're going to go down. But sometimes that obedience, it does just look like taking a small step, starting before you feel ready. And more often than not, trusting without knowing the full picture. And I know that that can feel really uncomfortable. But I also know that that's where you're going to have your biggest growth. That is where you're going to see that fostering isn't just a limitation, but we can actually look at fostering as opportunities for that growth. So sometimes we can see fostering as the reason as why we can't do something. Those excuses fly around all the time. I don't have time. My life is too full. It's not the right season. And trust me, I know that fostering is demanding. But I also know that through fostering, it can be the place for new opportunities. It's the place where you can grow. It's the place where you can learn. And it's the place where new connections begin. So fostering doesn't have to limit your life. It can be the part that expands your life. For me, I have been fostering for 7 years. I've come to learn how I can lean on my fostering to expand who I am as a woman, how I'm growing as a mother, how I'm growing as a foster carer, how I grow as a wife. I run a home with 6 children in it. I understand the complexities, the chaos of everything that comes with fostering. But I also know that the more I grow, the more that the home grows with me. For some people, the calling is fostering. They've been called to step into that. And honestly, that is amazing, and it is enough. Because even with fostering, you're stepping into leadership. And God calls many of us to just simply lead our homes. So I want to ask you this question. Are you leading your home with faith? Because when we can lead our home with faith, it allows peace and trust and love and steadiness to be the core of the home. And truly, that in itself is a God-led calling. But if you are feeling called to more, that's okay as well. You may feel the call to write a book, start a business, start a podcast, even to get another job outside of the home, or even to move home, to completely move location. Whatever the calling is that God has placed on your heart, I invite you to share in the comment section below so that we can pray with you over your God-led calling. God gives us all different callings at different times in our lives. 2 years ago, God put in my heart to write a book, and now it's in the homes across the UK, in America and Australia. And earlier last year, God put into my heart fostering kingdoms, and now you're here with me listening and seeing the calling being brought to life. But don't get caught up in thinking that God's calling is all about doing more. God's calling isn't about adding more pressure to your life. In fact, it's an invite to show you how to be open, to learn how to take action, and to learn what it looks like to live in alignment with God, with His calling, with His word, and how you can actually start moving gently towards the person that God knew you are to be. It's about becoming open to what has been placed in your heart and trusting in God and taking small, simple steps forward. You may not have all the answers right now, so it may just look like writing down what you feel God has put in your heart. Just starting something quietly, or simply exploring an idea without rushing it. Allowing yourself time to pause and think about your future, your goals, your aspirations. You honestly don't need to have it all figured out. And that's sometimes one of the traps that we get caught up in. But you do need to be willing and open to what's been put in your heart, and don't be afraid of it. Right now, it may not make any sense to you. It may just be a few simple words. You may be thinking, actually, is this God's calling? Is it just me in my own head? It doesn't matter. Just spend some time, write it down. And even if you feel called to, read the Bible over what it is that's been put in your heart, what it is that you've wrote down. Seek clarification within the Bible. In today's world, we are so focused on results. But when we can get into the Bible and we understand that faith doesn't actually work like that, it allows us to know that we're not responsible for the outcomes, but we are responsible for our obedience and then trusting God with the outcome. And when we can learn to do that, we actually release the pressure of, will this work? Will it happen? What do I need to do to change the current situation that I'm in? When you can learn to trust in God more and trust that He has the outcomes, you actually create more space to just breathe and to be able to keep your focus on your growth. And honestly, that brings a whole different level of peace to yourself and to the home. And it's a peace that lives deep within you. So if you have been feeling that pull lately, that quiet nudge towards something more, don't ignore it, but don't rush through it either. Just spend some time to acknowledge it. And honestly, pray over it. And like I've said before, share it in the comment section so we can pray over it with you. Just spend some time to sit with it, or even take one small action step today. And remember that fostering is a part of your life, but it's not the limit for what God can do through you. So thank you for being a part of the Fostering Kingdoms community. And can I ask you today to be an active member within our community? Can you like this video, subscribe to our podcast, and send this episode to a fellow foster carer who might need to hear this message today, or even someone you know that may benefit from our resources over at fosteringkingdoms.com. If you are not ready to say goodbye yet, let's hang out some more.